Good afternoon, and Your Excellency, Mr. Muawiyah Radaide, Minister of Environment of Jordan. I really appreciate your presence here for this panel. And also I appreciate the guests giving the time to stay for this important panel. I've been asked to give an introductory remarks on behalf of ADNOC. And again, I'd like to reintroduce myself. My name is Ibrahim Al Zu'bi. I'm the Group Chief Sustainability and ESG Officer at ADNOC, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. It's an honor to be here and open this panel. As we gather here, we are reminded that only 7.2% of the global economy is circular. This statistic, by the way, underscores the immense importance and potential at the same time and urgency for this transformation. The transition to circular supply chains, to circular supply chain is not just an environmental imperative, but also it's a significant economic opportunity, as we always say when it comes to sustainability. And this opportunity for circular economy is estimated around $4.5 trillion. For the energy industry, our industry, the shift is particularly relevant and important. By embracing circular principles, we can reduce waste, enhance resource efficiency, and of course, lower our carbon footprint. All of this while innovation and economic growth is at the heart of our work. At ADNOC, we are actively building a low-carbon energy supply chains. We are decarbonizing our own operations, investing in renewable energy projects such as solar and wind, and other low-carbon solutions such as low-carbon hydrogen. By integrating low-carbon solutions into supply chain and circular economy, we are reducing our overall carbon footprint and contributing to global efforts to combat climate change and ensuring our energy supplies is one of the lowest carbon intensity globally. In the UAE, where sustainability is a cornerstone of our national vision, the relevance to circular economy supply chains cannot be overstated. As a leading energy producer, we have the responsibility to lead by example. By integrating circularity into our operations, we can contribute to the UAE ambitious sustainability goals, including the UAE Net Zero by 2050 strategic initiatives. At ADNOC, we are exploring ways to repurpose byproducts from our operations, such as using captured carbon for enhanced oil recovery, or converting waste materials into valuable resources, and at the end, producing an economic and business formula out of this. These initiatives not only reduce our environmental impact, but it also creates new business opportunities and strengthen our resilience against our future challenges. Resilient supply chains are the backbone of circular economy. They provide the stability and flexibility needed to transform a linear model into a sustainable, regenerative system. At ADNOC, we are focused on making our local supply chains more resilient. Through ADNOC's in-country value, our ICV program, we are committed to maximizing the value of our resources within the United Arab Emirates, supporting local businesses and ensuring that we create job opportunities. This program, by the way, ensures our supply chains in the UAE are not only sustainable, but also contribute to the socio-economic development of the UAE. We are using circular economy to look at sustainability, which is triple bottom line approach: planet, profit, people. Additionally, our Make It in the Emirates program aligns with our vision of fostering local manufacturing and innovation. These initiatives support the development of circular economy and having it at the heart by promoting the use of locally sourced materials and sustainable practices. The conversation today by the esteemed panel will explore how we can harness the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity and how we dive into strategies for integration of circular economy principles into operations, fostering collaboration across industries, and leveraging technological advancements. I would like to thank the panel in advance, and I look forward for the insights and ideas that will emerge from this panel, and I'm confident that together we can pave the way for a more circular and sustainable global economy. I wish you enjoy and fruitful panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ibrahim Al Zu'bi, Group Sustainability and ESG Officer for ADNOC Group. A really fascinating introduction to this topic. Now we're going to discuss it even further. Welcome to our next session here at Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. I'm Georgia Tolley. I'm a journalist based right here in the UAE, and I'm delighted to be hosting this panel. We'll be discussing specifically the circular economy and how reshaping supply chains could release trillions, yes, trillions of dollars across the global value chain. It really is a fascinating conversation. I'm delighted to say I got two brilliant panelists who've joined me on stage. Her Excellency Laila Mostafa Abdullatif is Director General of Emirates Nature-WWF. We also have Amadou Diallo, who is the CEO for the Middle East and Africa for DHL Global Forwarding. Thank you to both of you for joining us this afternoon. Pleasure to have you with us. Now, Your Excellency, I'm going to start with you because I wonder if you could suggest new models and what new models should be adopted to promote circularity and also decouple economic growth from resource consumption.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank all the organizers here today for having me on stage. I think this is a very critical topic. But if you don't mind, I'd like to address it maybe in a little bit of a different way than typically we tend to look at circularity. I think it's important to really get inspired by circularity in the way that it's incorporated within nature. And I think as a nature organization as well, that's what we really try to emphasize on. So if you look at circularity in nature, if we were to leave nature alone to do its thing, essentially it regenerates itself, right? And every single process in nature has a place, it has a role, and it has a continuous cycle. So there's a lot that we can be inspired by nature when we design our own circular models within our industries. And as Emirates Nature-WWF, the approach that we tend to follow is really looking at how do we work within the space of nature and with local community members to really co-design circular processes that make sense for ensuring a healthy environment and a healthy ecosystem, so that you have the benefits both from a circularity standpoint, but you're also incorporating environmental stewardship within the models that we use. So for example, we work a lot with local community members and farmers on regenerative farming, on nature-positive farming, which factors in agroecology, it factors in circular farming models and practices. So this goes down to, composting, it goes into how do we recycle the water that we're using, how do we look at treated wastewater as well as a resource. If you look at nature-based solutions within the ecotourism space, for example, similar, we try to look at a circular model within that space that incorporates renewable energy, that incorporates waste models, that really integrates then both that environmental sustainability angle along with the more standard circular economy models that you would typically see within different industries.
It's a really interesting perspective, this idea that we can, of course, draw inspiration from nature itself and the way nature works. Amadou, how would you suggest both countries and, of course, corporates could actually promote circularity and decouple that economic growth from resource consumptions, which is what we see so much of at the moment?
So thanks also for having me here. I will not just talk on behalf of DHL, I also will talk on behalf of people that come from villages in the south. Yeah? Circularity is now something that is like very much upbeat. But me, I remember I was born over 6 years ago. We used to wear shoes that were made out of used tires in my village, right? We used to have toys that were made out of used tomato boxes. You still can now buy suitcases that are made out of. So circularity is not something new. It is not something that is economically invented now. And I think that it has been a necessity for a long time for people to have a sustainable life. So when she's talking about nature, I just recouplate to that. Now, when you look at what is happening, for example, what we're doing as DHL, so every year we are collecting a lot of plastic together with Hapag-Lloyd on all the beaches across more than 17 countries with volunteers in our organization that are, for example, used here in the UAE to make the T-shirts of the delivery folks that you see when they're coming in, bringing your boxes in your platforms, with the support of a company called Degrade. Yeah? We are also equally working with a lot of organizations to support enabling entrepreneurs that are working in the area of sustainability to become regional players and then global players. One example is a company that is based actually out of this place here. It's called Rebound. It was created by a young lady called Miriam Al-Mansour, who we are supporting logistics-wise to be able to make sure that the platform that she's creating is a platform that will not only flourish here in the UAE, but rather contaminate many more people. Why we believe that? It's because the entrepreneurship spirit that is coming out of your young minds, if not framed by policies, can create a lot of solutions that can help many people across the globe. And what we see in our organization, so we have 600,000 employees, of which 130,000 volunteer across the globe. And those volunteers, they are not volunteering because of policies or whatsoever. They're volunteering because they think that there is an impact that we can have in the world, which has helped us define a purpose in our organization, which is called connecting people and improving lives to make the world a better place. Because we are people that are coming from over 220 countries. So I think that each of us has a responsibility to make sure that anything that has been produced is not wasted but reused until the time it can be reused again, because that's the only way we will make the world a much more sustainable place for everybody.
I hear a lot there from you, Amadou, about collaboration, and I imagine, Your Excellency, you see the importance of collaboration and information sharing. How do you think that can be fostered across the value chain just to make sure that you're optimizing reuse of resources?
Well, I think, having data-driven insights inform your circular economy strategy is critical, right? And ensuring that you're collaborating across different sectors also allows you to showcase how everybody has a particular role to play and they're involved in the design of that strategy. A couple of years ago, we worked on a circular proof of economy concept, or circular economy proof of concept for the F&B industry, specifically looking at plastic bottles. And we worked with 13 different global players. This included Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Starbucks, etc. And the point of the study, we actually funded a study in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi where we wanted to see how easy is it to recover these plastic bottles from the market. And what are those current barriers in the market that are preventing us from implementing real extended producer responsibility and circular economy principles within these different industries. And what we noticed is through that approach, we were able to share challenges, look at co-creating solutions collectively, We had put in place 12 different recommended policies that were actually taken up by the UAE Circular Economy Council. You had the Circle Coalition that was also formed as a result of this, which was led by the private sector, who really wanted to take the topic even further in the country. And so you could see some real systemic change. And that was as a result of government coming together, civil society, NGOs, private sector, really looking at knowledge sharing, having a strong platform to be able to monitor the effectiveness of a pilot study, of a proof of concept, to then take it to reality. So I think critical to synergize efforts across the board, but using that science-based data as a basis.
So we have this fantastic collaboration going on between all the sort of different segments of society, from government down to individuals, going through corporates. Amadou, would you suggest that we need help from policymakers? Do we need interventions? Do we need frameworks to encourage this circular economy to develop further?
You're coming from a place where you really have to be an entrepreneur. I think that you need freedom.
Freedom.
For creativity to flourish, yeah. So, I can tell you, I can give an example. So in the UAE, it's the place where we actually opened our first electric battery warehouse worldwide. Was here in the UAE, which is not far from our innovation center in DWC, Dubai World Central, it's called. There was no legal system, there was no framework, but we learned to work together with the local policy makers to define what are the standards that need to be existing for us to be able to operate. And now it is something that is replicated in China, in Mexico, in many different places, but actually it started here. And the same is for many things that we do out of our innovation center that is, that we have opened in the UAE, which we are now expanding. It is important that we have free minds trying to make up solutions that then can work together with policymakers to make policies that make sense. And when we are talking about circularity, we have many, many domains. So for example, electric batteries for vehicles, that's something that is now being created, but the policy of being able to recycle the batteries is not very, very clear. The place where you have to charge the batteries is not very, very clear. So, and we're trying to make sure that we have sustainable solutions that can be exported worldwide, but that are created here. And why is it being created here? We have roughly around 1.9 billion people living in the Middle East and Africa region. And if there are people who need electricity, it's here. If there are people who need substantial living material, it is in that region. So we are better placed to be able to invent solutions that will make sure that our people will be included in a better world than to let it be invented by people who are making policies in many different countries. We respect them all because we know that they're very creative. But I think that the people in need, when knowledgeable, then they can create a lot of solutions that can be sustainable and good for everybody else.
I only have about 2 minutes to go with both of you, and I'd like to sort of end on a quick-fire final question, if that's okay. We discovered that this circular economy has this potential to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Both of you move in different circles, but both of you move in quite high circles, I would suggest, with opinion formers, policymakers, people that can make a difference. Do you feel that there's an understanding within your individual circles of this potential, Your Excellency?
I think there's definitely an understanding, and it's growing, but there needs to be more investment and resources towards really educating the wider group of individuals and industries that it's not that complicated to introduce. It's part of our natural environment, right? We just need to be inspired by other industry champions like we have here, and see how do you implement it relatively simply within your own strategic long-term plan.
Amadou.
Yeah, so what we have tried to do here is, first of all, to create a platform for knowledge. So we are working, for example, in Dubai with Middlesex University, and Amani is an NGO that is based in Kenya, to be able to explain to all of our people through a program that is called SALAM, which stands for Sustainable Leadership Mindset. What are the business cases that you can utilize to be able to do something that is sustainable without involving losing money or investing money into things that you don't understand. And that is something that we are running across all of the region with all of our country managers for them to be able to walk the talk. The second thing that we're doing is that we are creating now a platform, a digital platform. It's called Ubuntu. The Ubuntu Academy, it will be a platform where actually people from all of our markets will be able to access the knowledge for free that we have created to actually teach our own people. And we believe that if the people are knowledgeable and they're fit and they're not hungry, then they can make loads of things.
I'm sure you'll like to join me in thanking our panelists for such a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, a huge thank you to all the organisers of this brilliant event. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.